Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be a podcast. Welcome my esteemed panel, Farooq, Jacob, and Mo. Pick up every single one of you in the chat. Yeah, man. Doing the preview yesterday with half faith. I didn't see this coming, honestly, and the way it kind of unfolded, took a bit of gloss away from it for me, at least personally. The 2-0 at minute 10 kind of basically, stunted any excitement I had for the game. But in general, such a game of minimal stakes, like I wouldn't really run away with it. But like my mood was entirely different, when we bet them at the Olympic Stadium, a couple of months back in the league. But now, even though it's a much higher margin, and we basically, blew them away. Let's be honest, in the first half, and then we added one more in the second. Uh, my only gripe, again, as always, when there's an opportunity where Barcelona is backtracking and praying to the heavens, we don't take advantage and hit them for 6-7. Right? My mood would have been different if we hit them for 7 after they went a man down, but we can't do that. We are just we get the job done, we get out, right? That's why Kuhl's like Hafid, he comes on and he is very, very, very keen to remind us, oh, you haven't bet us 5-0. We haven't sat through a thrashing.
Sunil, I think you're being much like the Indian parents, when you say
No.
100% or test paper.
No. That's a good comparison, but like I've been very.
Make no mistake, man. Like 4-1 is still.
It's a spanking. It's a spanking.
Like
I get it.
Like running scared, like you said. So it was a pretty good game for Remember. I think that we could
100%. No, but I've been pretty vocal.
We had chances, but it just didn't go our way. So 4-1.
The Brahim chance, I remember we tried. But personally, I've been leaving the group and all throughout the
Today is the day to be happy. So
100%.
No negativity.
No negativity. Like I'm just telling you, like I've always had this, ick that we don't really, proper thrash them. But today was okay. I'm happy. Like I wouldn't be over the moon. But it's up to you, man. Like this is the first trophy of the season. Jose Lu's first trophy. It's all positivity. 100%. Jude's first trophy. I believe Carlo equals Zidane's trophy count or something, right? Like I'm not sure about that, but I heard the commentary mention it. If the stats guys can actually help me out, but all in all, I mean, this sets the tempo. That's what's the most important aspect for me. Looking forward to the next 2-3 months. This is kind of where hopefully 3 months down the line we look back and tell us that like that was kind of a good omen of where we are actually heading with this young side. But yeah, man, big up the chat again. Without further ado, I'll come to you first, Mo, man. We are here to embrace your positivity, Sonia. And I would actually, want you to lift me, to be honest. So the floor is yours. That's a choke slam. I don't get what the fuck you meant with that, but yeah, man, take it away.
No, and for me, it's a happy occasion. I kind of find you being like too somber, like you're on somebody's or something. Maybe Xavi invited you to Barcelona's funeral. But,
No.
I'm here to celebrate like Real Madrid's victory. For me personally, like I said yesterday, this game is the one that sets the tone for the season. I said it yesterday. First of all, it's a final. Second of all, it's a game against Barcelona. So Real Madrid had every obligation to win it, no matter what anybody else says. And Real Madrid today, we did it, and we did it in style. I mean, Ancelotti, like for me, it was a big worry. How is he going to set up? But Ancelotti completely exploited Barcelona's weaknesses today. Their high line, he showed himself to the level of the experience that he has as a manager, especially in these games when it comes to finals. So for me today, incredibly happy, incredibly positive about how the game went. And the thing that makes me most happy is the fact that we finally had Jude, Vinicius, and Rodrygo clicking together. Those three guys worked together and they managed to score some important goals against an important team. So for me, I'm incredibly happy, and I was enjoyed by the team's performance. And Hala Madrid.
100%. Carlos' game plan was what was the highlight for me 100%, because I mentioned in the chat, like when you said that they were going with four midfielders, they were kind of trying to match us up. And Xavi, when manager tries to basically match us up, man to man, it really goes to show that he was nervous coming into this game, and he was wary of what kind of a dynamic attack that we pose, especially in transition, that they would be torn apart. He knew it, but nothing could stop that. I guess the high line was kind of to prevent that from happening. From Barcelona basically collapsing in transition, but we saw how that unfolded, man. But I'll come to you, man. Jacob, talk to us. First trophy of the season. Uplifting, mood lifting.
Heck yeah. I mean, for me, it was like initially I was like was not really excited about this trophy, but then just seeing how much trouble we had to go through just to get through Atletico, that was a sweet spot for me. So make no mistake, like this is a really hard trophy to get to. Even though it's just 2 games, you have to face the best of Spain, and next season it's going to be even more tougher. You have to face Girona possibly and Atletico, and this is just gonna be. I didn't expect that I would get so emotional after this game, but I did. I'm really happy. Finally see a really good performance against Barcelona. Even the 4-1 that we had last season, they were all saying, "Man, fuck, man, you guys, we dominated you in the first half and whatnot. You guys got lucky in the second half." But this game, like, we absolutely thrashed them. Even the goal that Lewandowski scored, like, that came out of the blue. I would say.
Yeah.
Absolutely well.
So basically, we dug our own hole with that goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. Farouk, man, talk to us. Vintage Carlo performance.
I mean, man, as Mo said, man, hala fucking Madrid, man. Like, this is what we have been waiting for, honestly. Like, this is a game that, honestly, Sunit, I say to you, honestly, if we had lost, I would be fucking happy. Because the point is, this is the first game in a while that we actually can see with our eyes that the team had a plan. And we executed the plan to the T, which is what I've always been complaining about. The point is, you can't go and keep playing hero football every day. Honestly, like, whatever, like today, Carlo deserves the flowers. He deserves the respect, Actually, it was a very strange day. Imagine Carlo actually had a tactics today. 1, 2, he subbed up Jude. He subbed up also Fede Valverde. Come on, bro. Like, I mean, there is nothing, to ask more from the man, honestly. So I kind of, agree with the guys when they say, like, Sinead, you're just being, too harsh. And I can understand you want the trash and all that. But I think considering like what we have seen from the team over the past 3-4 months, I think like today is a day that we can feel like, yeah, okay, this is a team that we want to back. This is something that we want to see, especially with the fluidity of the front three, or the front two, or whatever you guys want to call it, with Jude, Rodrygo and Pedro. Like, I felt like this was something that, we've been expecting to happen, So I feel like today is a glimpse of what this team can be. Because like with everyone being fit, I think this is, with the team we have right now, I think this is the best we can put out. This is the best 11 we can put out. Maybe you can argue Mendy for Kamavinga in the fullback position, but this is the best we can put out with the players we have right now. So I kind of feel like this shows that, okay, maybe with time, actually, Carlo can get this right, and prove people like me wrong. Because I never I was expecting we're going to win, but I never expected us to win in this fashion, man. Honestly, like, as you guys say, this game could have gone 6, 7, 8-0. Obviously, they scored a goal out of this, but at no point did I feel like, like Barcelona were going to come back into this game. Even when they equalized, honestly. Even when they did equalize, like, there was nothing there, It's not like a game you're playing like, okay, yeah, we have to, defend deep in the box and, defending our goal line and shit like that. No, this is the thing. If you're going to play, exploit something, you have to play to the perfect team. This, honestly, like, for me, respect, man, honestly. As again, reiterating what Mo said, man, hala fucking Madrid, man. Finally, we can talk about our team finally.
There's a big breaking news. I don't know if you guys have read this, but scientists have discovered a way to switch bodies, and I think Sunay and Farouk have switched bodies today.
This guy, man, honestly. Ashik basically, like, kind of, has the same feeling that I did. Like, if you can get to his comment, Jacob, he mentioned, it should have been 5-0, but sitting on a 2-goal lead and then playing deep block with a team full of young, talented players is disgusting. We won, but playing like Roma, I wouldn't slate, our team to that extent. But still, man, like, I wish I had the same, energy that you guys, do for tonight. But I'm not going to take anything away from you guys' happiness, and I hope, I'm on the same same plane, come the end of this post match. But I'll come to you first. Mo, Vinicius doubts, here and there, murmur about, is he really fitting into the team? Has him coming back kind of taken away, fluidity from our side? Where so many of the questions that were thrown around by fans on social media, on Twitter, on Reddit, on a subreddit, all of that. Even I was kind of, even in the last post match, I was like, I don't see Vinicius, really getting into gear yet. But tonight you can, I guess, really, get a better picture of where basically when he left off against Valencia.
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation like at the last post match where I said that I was actually happy about how Vinicius, Bellingham, and Rodrygo combined in the game, because I saw that fluidity last time. What I said was they had 8 defenders essentially, so they needed a fourth there. But today with Barcelona, it was essentially a 3-on-3, with 3 centre backs facing off against our 3 attackers, and we saw the difference that these guys make, and they are developing an understanding. So we have to be happy about it, like Farouk said. Overall, the thing is, like, once these guys get into a rhythm, we'll see what Real Madrid can do and can achieve, like Farouk brilliantly said. So for me, I'm pretty happy about Vinicius' performances. But, some of the questions that were asked, like, should Vinicius be replaced by Brahim? Or should there was a funny post on our subreddit actually that said that Jeremy Doku is a better player than Vinicius. So I think when you have questions like those being asked about Vinicius,
That was a meme, right?
No,
no,
I don't think
somebody
so.
was serious about the post.
Oh my God. Okay.
So,
Mm.
they brought on stats and everything, and they're kind of like trying to, without any context, and trying to portray a certain viewpoint. But okay. So for me, when things like these happen, Vinicius has to step up and answer those questions. The thing is, like, you can only shut up these people with performances. I think today Vinicius stepped up, big time in a big game. It's probably the biggest game in the world. Madrid against Barcelona. It never gets better than, never gets bigger than this. And Vinicius stepped up and, like, he shut everybody's mouth. What can you say? At the start of the game, even I was like, "Oh, Vinicius, probably we're gonna see the same old." But then, he completely showed us what Vinicius is all about, and the questions about how Vinicius should be coming off the bench, everybody was just proven stupid, because Vinicius is a player, who plays at a level that nobody else can reach right now in this team, maybe except Jude.
High praise. Jacob.
Yeah, man. What more can I say about Vinicius? So Fiorentino Perez had a quote. He's basically told Vinicius, "Man, you shouldn't have just scored 3 goals. You could have or easily scored way more." So I feel like he was a bit more wasteful in the second half when we already had hat-trick. We were sitting comfortably. We could have really gone in for the kill if Vinicius really wanted to. But yeah, I'm really super happy with his performance individualistically, and along with, like, just combining with Rodrygo and Bellingham and even Carvajal. Really loved his performance. Yeah, what more can I say about the man? He really he shut up all the haters, man. Like, where's Araujo? Where is Araujo now?
His pocket is empty for Bayern money.
Yeah.
Araujo looked off the pace, man. Like, not gonna lie, like Vinicius really tore him a new one. Especially like how his movement, like you could see fear in their eyes. Like, even without looking at them, their body language really looked way off. Whenever Vinny tried to take them on, they knew the battle was over before it even began. And I would like to again applaud Vinicius's timing of the run, especially the first goal. How he basically drops the shoulder, waits for Jude to play the ball, and instinctively takes on the keeper, dribbles him over, and slides it in into an empty net. Like, it just goes to show that he has gone a long way. Especially in terms of like polishing his finishing aspect of his game and whatnot. But yeah, man, Vinicius, I hope this is basically the curtain raiser for 2024 for him. Farouk, man, Vinicius Junior.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, I think if you guys remember, we've always had this conversation, on this platform, that the issue is this, like, with Vini, is that when he plays, without the fighting with the other players, fighting with the bench, fighting with the crowd, fighting with the referee, he's basically unstoppable. which is similar to what happened today. That's why we always see, Vinicius' best performances against, the top teams, especially in Europe. Today again he plays against Raul, which is a player that respects him a lot and a player that he respects a lot. So like there was no fighting, there was no dark arts. There's just if you're good enough, go past me. If I'm good enough, I defend you. That's the thing. So I feel like these are the kind of situations where Vinicius, he literally plays to the audience. You can see like today there was no bickering, there was no taunting, there was nothing. He was just there, playing and enjoying pure Samba football, man. So this is the thing with Vinicius. If he can find a way to isolate all these, external factors, either it's fighting with the ref, fighting with the defenders, fighting with the fans.
This is basically a home crowd, so like, you get it, right?
Yeah, of course, definitely, I get the point. But what I'm saying is that even we see, even in Europe, in the Champions League matches, even whether it's you go to England or you go to Germany or things like this, like Vini always tend to shine in these games because why? There is no that hostility that is being targeted towards him.
100%.
So I kind of feel like this kind of environment. This is what Vini needs to kind of create for himself. Try to find a way to shut out the bickering and the fighting and the this and the that. I think that's the only thing that remains, honestly, because I think over the past 18 months, Vini has showed us that he can finish, he can make decisions. But the problem remains this: when you go, let's away, to the Valencias, to the Getafes, and all these clubs, when they target you specifically by the fans, by the players, by the coaches, how do you react? And so far, Vini has shown us that he cannot react well. He hasn't shown, that in that case, like the decision making hasn't. At least so far, it's been hot and cold. So I feel like that's the only thing left, at least in my opinion. I think the finishing and decision-making football-wise has gone to a tremendous level, honestly. He just needs to be able to, maintain that level, as we saw today, that if he is just focused on playing and playing only, he's basically unstoppable. Honestly, basically unstoppable.
This is the kind of drive that I would like from Vinny, like what you just mentioned, this relentless nature is what I kind of saw missing in him for a bit. It comes back in flashes and then it goes away, and then he has days like this. I just hope that this basically makes Vinny, like you said, block out all the noise, block out all the unwanted distraction, and basically focus on the game, focus on beating the man in front of you, and basically winning the game for us, man. But yeah, Vinicius hat trick, big statement, especially. I heard the commentator say there have been only like 5 or 6 people who managed to score a hat trick in the Super Copa, and Vinicius is one amongst them. How many of us would have even envisioned something like that, like 3 or 4 years ago? So he has come a long way. He has finally turned into a man. It's glad that like his career trajectory is on the up, and many of us thought like where would he go after especially the Decimo Quarta win, but closely behind Vinicius, Rodrygo. Me personally, I liked Rodrygo's application to the game much more. Obviously I have a slight bias there, but still, man, Rodrygo has been so crucial to whatever good we have done this season. Even when Vinicius was missing, he has stepped up, and tonight again. One thing that I mentioned in the chat again that I love about Rodrygo is his work rate, is his willingness to defend, his willingness to track back. Even if he loses a man, he just calculates his next move. He's like, how can I close the next passing lane? How can I complement Fede's and Carvajal's positioning? He is just always on the move, always looking for spaces to exploit. He is absolutely someone that I would liken to Di Maria, one of my favorite players in the white shirt, man. Like, I just hope Rodrygo and Vinicius together, this duo can do something special like what Vinny and Benzema did. The platform is there, right? The stage is set. I think the formula is pretty much ironed out. When we had doubts 3-4 months ago what we are going to exactly do with this diamond, we kind of have a picture now. So I hope these two take prime advantage, man. I'll come to you more, bro. Rodrygo for the night.
Yeah, I think you said, like, you summed it up perfectly. What Rodrygo did. We saw his good qualities. We saw what Rodrygo is good at, and I think what we need to highlight is the fact that that is the role that Ancelotti envisions for him in this particular setup. Because when you look at Vinicius, when you look at Rodrygo, when you're looking at other players, but like especially Vinicius and Rodrygo, because these two are the guys who are forever going to be linked because they came into the team at similar times, maybe one season apart. But they're both Brazilian, and they're both players that the club has invested heavily into. So we as Madrid fans, we want to see these guys like succeed. And I think Vinicius, like 21-22 season, he completely broke into the team, and Rodrygo, like maybe it's taking him a bit longer, but he's done it now. Now he's indispensable to the team. So I think Rodrygo is stepping up pretty well. Whereas like Vinicius, because of the way he plays, the speed that he has, especially on transition, that Ancelotti likes to exploit. So his defensive work isn't that
duties
much.
are less.
Yeah. So he doesn't really have that much, but Rodrygo like combines both of them pretty perfectly, because like you said, he's always combining with the likes of Fede Valverde and Carvajal on the right, and trying to create chances whenever he's playing. And when he's on the left, he's again combining with whoever the left back is, Jude and the striker and everything. So for me, I think Rodrygo has taken up whatever Benzema has taught him, because I remember last season Ancelotti used to say that Professor Benzema is teaching Rodrygo how to play a particular brand of game. So I think his associative play, his ability to combine with others is top notch, and he just keeps on showing it season after season.
And the finish, especially, his positioning is this out of this world. Like even against Atleti, you just know that you can expect Rodrygo to be in the right place, right time. Like I just really, really like that aspect.
The thing about Rodrygo that always comes into mind is his first play for Real Madrid. He comes on a substitute for, I think it was for Vinicius. He plays on the left, and the first action of his, with the first play that he was involved in, he scores a goal from the edge of the box. So I think that is something, that's a memory that is always going to be there for a Real Madrid fan. And today, apart from the goal, I would also like to highlight his play for Vinicius' second, because he had the foresight, he had the intelligence to position himself. He repositioned himself, like he was ahead of the line, but he made sure that he was behind the line when the ball was played. I think that intelligence, that tactical now, so like it's something that like really sets him apart from even Vinicius, because I think Vinicius is a brilliant player, but Rodrygo has that something different. He has he has incredible game IQ, and he has that intelligence, and even inside the box, I think he's pretty calm compared to other players. So for me, I think that aspect of the thing, that aspect of the whole goal where he repositions himself and then runs into space and receives the ball and creates a goal for Vinicius. He has the calmness to see where Vinicius
perfect pass, perfect, because the defender really doesn't know how to deal with it.
He also knew that he was behind him. So he had the foresight to ensure that Vinicius wasn't offside. So for me, this is something that we need to highlight a lot. His goal brilliant, but his assist even more perfect for me.
Farooq, we had this conversation that Rodrygo might be, in your opinion, the guy that might get the axe. When someone like, let's say, a Kylian Mbappe or an Erling Haaland gets added to the mix, a couple of years down the line. This was the conversation we had last year, somewhere in the beginning of 2023. But a year on, how indispensable has he turned out to be?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about Kylian Mbappe and Rodrygo, I mean, I don't need to answer that. I mean, everyone obviously would guess what the answer will be. But yeah, to just what you've said, like, he's grown. And honestly, for me, I actually, at the beginning of the season as well, I picked him, to be the breakout player of the season. And I think since he's, rediscovered how to play football again, like he's totally, proven me right. That's the thing. Like with Rodrygo right now, as you guys rightly pointed out, it's not just the goal scoring or something like that. It's the thing that he's shown before when playing with Benzema as well, a bit of that link-up play. Right now, it's something that is coming to fruition. You can see that, rightfully, as you guys pointed, with the assist to Vinicius Junior. They're like, it looked like an easy ball to pass, but honestly, I feel like we've seen that kind of stuff go bad many times. So it's not an easy thing, and also that ability to keep yourself onside and break the line. And yeah, I think Rodrygo over the past 12 months has just gone from more strength to more strength, honestly. So I just believe that hopefully at the end of this year, we would rank him in a very, very close position to what Vinicius has been for us over the past 18 months, honestly. And yeah, I still have all that feeling that eventually when the arrival of Kylian Mbappe happens, some certain difficult discussions will need to be made. But then right now the point is Kylian Mbappe is not coming to Real Madrid right now. So yeah, long
You know,
play Rodrygo.
on that point, I just want to say something that Florentino said today. The fans want to enjoy the players that they are here right now and the trophy they won. So, no
thing,
time for
honestly.
Kylian Mbappe right now.
Exactly. So right now we don't have time or space for Kylian Mbappe. Maybe in the future we can revisit that. But then Victor Osimhen, on the other hand, we
always have time for him.
I have this opinion that all three of them can play together and exceptionally well, and people would be surprised at how 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 much they can complement each other, in open play. Like I really see that unfolding, pretty much to plan.
I mean,
But
I
I
think
get you.
the fact is like good players always learn how to play together. So I think when Mbappe, if Mbappe comes, I have to correct myself. If Mbappe comes, it's definitely possible to play Vinicius, Rodrygo, and this potential third player together. But I think that's a discussion that we should not be having today.
Jacob Rodrygo quickly.
And what more to say? Like, I think these guys summed it all up, but I would say like he made all of those goals happen. Like if it was even for the Vinicius goal where he got set up the first goal, Rodrygo was the man who was pulling in the Barca defense wider. So I don't think like we could have had this performance without Rodrygo. Huge important player in such I guess the most important match of the season so far, I would say. If you consider this competition as important, but yeah, for me, monumental.
100%. Let's get to a few of the comments. Jacob, if you can help me from the very beginning, I missed a few of them. Yeah, Ashik has some very strong words, but I will cut out the strongest of them and go off a little a mellow one to begin with. Ashik was saying, if everyone thinks just winning is enough, then remember sometimes teams like Almeria and Girona also win. We are not them. We are bigger and have a rich history of champion football. Yeah, I agree. Scott, big up Scott, he was saying, vamos a la Madrid. Ashik, again, Real Madrid's legacy is not built on Catenaccio. It was built on playing innovative and imaginative football, sitting back and... Okay. Big up Ashik, though. Madrid TV was saying, a la Madrid, I love this team. Big up Madrid TV, man. Ashin Varghese, big up Ashin. He was mentioning easy.
Hold on,
yeah.
Why can't you read all of Ashik's comment now? This is an 18+ podcast.
No, I know, but it'll be too negative. Then people would be like, I'm basically, trying to cherry pick how I felt. Ashik kind of resonates with, what I went through at full time. But
I think there was a negative bomb dropped on Canada over the past few years.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like I can have an off day in terms of how I feel about the team. On certain days,
it's okay.
Yeah, on certain days when I come on here all gassed up, Farooq will be like, "What the fuck are you being gassed up about?"
That's what I'm saying. You and Farooq have changed places.
Yeah,
I don't know what
it's okay. It's okay. I'm really happy to see this positive side of Farooq. It's one in a million. So
honestly, I'm actually wondering, what's Ashik on about? What does he expect? The point is, the thing is, our team is in good position for 90 minutes. This is not what our team is like, and that's our team cannot.
No, you are misreading into it, Farooq. He's not talking about possession or domination, per se. He's just talking about how we should have gone for the kill and maybe hit them for a bit more. That's his gripe.
You just read a comment that said sitting back. I mean, that's the point. The thing we've had with Real Madrid, be it Zidane, at least when I started watching, be it Zidane, be it, Ancelotti's first era, be it Mourinho, this is what we've done, this is not a team that will go and, suffocate you for 90 minutes or press you the way Klopp or, Pep's team does. That's not what we've done. And we've had really, really entertaining teams. And I just, totally disagree in the place that if you want to dominate, a midfield of Gundogan, Pedri and Frankie de Jong, I just feel like that's totally counterintuitive, in my opinion. I feel like definitely what Carlo has done today, I am the number one Carlo out guy, and I am still that till today. But I just feel like what Carlo has done today, I feel is the best way to play against their midfield, in all opinion. I don't know what else, maybe he can, counter me in the comment with something better. I don't know, but I just feel like this was the way, that was the way to exploit it, and they exploited it. Simple and done.
Farooq, you left out somebody from the Barcelona midfield. I don't know why.
Who was that?
Sergio Roberto.
Oh, fucking hell.
but honestly, Farooq, I think the thing is like at 2-0, I think Ancelotti has to do some game management. I think that's what he was doing. But I was like
Yeah.
I was kind of like taken aback by how deep we were. So I think there's some criticism that been thrown over there because I think we allowed them far too much time on the ball and far too much space. But overall, yeah, I do agree with you. But I think there is a little bit of criticism that can be directed towards that.
Yeah, I do. I understand that move, but what I'm just saying is that, like, I just feel like considering what we have seen for the past 6 months, this is not the game to start saying this. I mean, bro. Okay, anyways.
Rajat was mentioning get Barca boy to take some trolling. I hope Hafid is fine, man. Hafid wouldn't care much about this game, but yeah, he's a good sport. I know that for a fact. Milan was mentioning, man, if when he stays fit, we might cook a season we didn't expect. Well, I kind of had the feeling that we would have a season we won't, really, predict at the beginning of the season. That's kind of, the track is set. Like you're mentioning. I hope it comes to fruition, man. Especially if we win the Champions League. Again, I'm not gonna say much, but if we do,
I mean,
that'll
it's
be
just Barcelona we have beaten. Okay? It's just Barcelona.
I know it's Barcelona. I know it's just Barcelona, but the general feeling from this side, very positive. Nobody's going to look at Real Madrid right now compared to somewhere, in August, right after, when Benzema left. The feeling of our team would be different. Obviously, then they would look at us and be like, yeah, they're weak. But, it's Real Madrid, they're going to go deep. But now people are going to, put us up as contenders, without a striker. Imagine that. Who saw that coming? But yeah, man. Rajat was saying Lunin couldn't do so much, if anything, to stop the Barcelona goal. Lunin was exceptional. We were mentioning it in the group chat. He was super, super good.
Actually, I was expecting after Vinicius, he would be the one you would highlight because I think Lunin was pretty good.
Yeah, now's the time. Go for it.
Oh, I should go for it. Yeah. For me personally, I think this is something that we've said. We said on earlier podcasts as well. The thing is, like, between Kepa and Lunin, we've always preferred Kepa, and I think Kepa today showed a different level to his game because in finals there's always pressure. Then you have the fact that you're playing against Barcelona, so Clasico, biggest game in the world. The pressure is humongous, and when you come into it having not played for the past few games, like I believe he didn't play the last 2 games. So correct.
Copa too, yeah.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. So he didn't play the last 2 games, and then he comes on, and he puts on a performance like this. I think the few chances that Barcelona had, apart from the Lewandowski one, Lunin did incredibly well. There was one where he shot stopped with his foot, and then there was this moment in the second half where he did well. We were in a sticky situation, and Lunin kind of helped us out of it. So I think Lunin overall was pretty brilliant today. And some moments, there was this one moment where the ball was going, away from the ball. I remember last game, Kepa kind of interfered in one of those moments and gave away a corner, but Lunin had the awareness to know where the ball was headed, and he did not interfere with it. So I think it's these small things, when you see your keeper do these things. Although it is kind of funny that we are pointing this out because this is something that you expect from your keeper. I'm sure Farooq is going to say these are small things. You expect your keeper to do that. So, but when you compare to the likes of Kepa and the way he messed up, especially last game, and then you have a keeper come in, somebody who you think is better, and do these small things and do regular goalkeeper stuff. So it kind of makes you happy. And for me, overall, I think if this game does not make Ancelotti believe that Lunin has to be the undisputed starter, I don't know which game.
I think the belief is clear because if the belief wasn't clear, he wouldn't start tonight, right? Like, especially a competition where, if you lose it, it's not the end of the world and it's not the first priority for either clubs, right? So I think this vote of confidence is basically it, when the lineups came out.
For me, I think after this, Lunin has to start every important game. I think Ancelotti said that he's going to start in the Cup as well. Although I'm not sure I believe him because, it's Ancelotti, and this season Ancelotti has been some weird mischief kind of person. But I expect, especially in the league, especially the Champions League, Lunin has to start every game. None of this rotation stuff that he's been doing for the last couple of months.
Yeah, when the lineup came out, I mentioned in the group chat that this, I believe, is the verdict regarding, the goalkeeping situation. I hope it is. Rajat was also mentioning need to save energy for the rest of the games we have. Probably, if you told me that at the beginning of the pod, I would have been a little more happier. But while watching the game, I didn't have that mentality. I don't know why. It's just past trauma, especially in Clásicos. Not gonna lie. Marcus Winningham was mentioning some silly fan bases wanted Vinny to come from the bench for this must-win final. I have no idea who said that. Probably on Twitter. Pay not much attention to Twitter, my friend. It's gonna sink you. Right. Rajat was mentioning, don't think Cruz and older players can press that Barca team high. I guess you guys have a point. Bigger Prince Arthur, he was mentioning, drop a like, guys. 100%, man. Like what Prince said, if you guys are new here, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 3K. Ricardo was mentioning, bring back the delusional. Right. Put some respect on Hafid, man. He had the cojones to come on the preview, be 1v3, basically play a handicap match, against us three and, hold his own. So, bro, he's built different. So he won't have any issues, jumping on and basically making a claim that Barcelona were hard done by, which we are obviously gonna have none of it. Ricardo was also mentioning, my only issue today is that at times, specifically in the first half, we allowed them too much space, like what Mo was alluding to, and when they went a man down, we should have scored more. Who else should we get to, boys, next? There's so many good performances across the pitch. I
Bellingham.
don't really have a preference.
I think Bellingham
Go
was
for
the
it,
best
Jacob.
midfielder today. So taking all those tackles, you just have that feeling, when he presses the one player, and if he makes a tackle, he's gonna win it 100%. 9 times out of 10, he's winning that. So that combativeness and just his silkiness on the ball, he had the most dribbles on the ball today. It was just exceptional, and he had a lot of these through balls, which almost got to the end of Vinny or Rodrygo. But yeah, for me, he was the best midfielder today. He was all over the pitch, so impactful. And even though he didn't get a goal today, I'm still super happy for him. I feel like this is the Bellingham that we should expect, like in the coming years and whatnot, not just the goals.
Overall play is absolutely scintillating, especially like you said. How basically when you see Jude going in for a tackle, like you just know for a fact that he's gonna win it, right? Like how many players watching them, especially someone who is not labeled a defensive minded midfielder, like how Jude is basically a blend of both. When he goes into a tackle, I didn't expect that. Like even at Dortmund, I've seen some compilations. Compilations really, don't give you the full picture, right? Like, but when you see a match live and then you see what this man does on the pitch, like you mentioned, have the intelligence to choose his battles, right? Choose his moments to, nick the ball off people. It's just amazing, especially his defensive work in our own box goes unnoticed a lot. And on top of that, he wins so many battles higher up the pitch. How many times in transition did he win us the ball and basically allowed us to release Vinny or Rodrygo? It just is a norm now. The first few match days, I used to be like, oh shit, this is real, right? Like, but now it doesn't faze me. Just like, yeah, that's what you expect from someone like Jude. But I'll come over to you, Farooq. Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, man, definitely. Just Jacob literally summarized it. Like that's the thing. Like this is what we should come to expect from Jude Bellingham. Honestly, like it's not about the scoring or the lack thereof, but it's about these all-round performances, the impact he makes in certain zones. That when you see Jude on the ball, like you're almost sure that something is gonna happen out of nothing. And the pass also to find Vinny on the opening goal, like what a pass. That was exquisite. Honestly, as you also mentioned, the interventions he has, defensively and offensively. It's almost like almost every chance starts with something that Jude has done somewhere, either a recovery or a pass to set up someone or something like this. Like Jude was nothing short of phenomenal today. It was a really really good performance from Jude, honestly.
Mo.
I think all three of you have made some brilliant points. The only point that I would like to add to it is the fact that certain fan bases said that Jude Bellingham is a striker. He's not a midfielder. So I think that was like comprehensively, let's say, debunked today. So I think in the preview we did, we were talking with Hafid and we said that Jude Bellingham is not just about the goals. He's also about what he does in the midfield in the deeper areas. And yes, before yesterday, I think it was like around like last 35 or 45 goals that Madrid have scored. Like Jude has only scored 4, I think. So whatever it was, and we've been talking about this. Jude is not just about the goals. Jacob made that brilliant point. Jude is not just about the goals. It's also about what he's doing in the deeper areas. The point that you guys have echoed as well. So it's just that some people need to understand Jude is not just about goals. He's just not just about playing higher up the pitch in the box. Sitting in the box just to score tap-ins or long distance tap-ins or whatever. Jude is there's a lot more to Jude than just that. So he's a guy who can do that as well as go deeper, break up plays, be a defensive force, win balls, do all of those things. So for me, what Ancelotti said, like, sums it up perfectly. Jude Bellingham is a perfect modern midfielder.
I've got to pick up EAFC for all the shite, gameplay tweaks and shit mechanics they implement each year. One thing that I would like to pick them up for is how they kind of replicate Jude's tenacity in the game. It's absolutely mind blowing, how close to real life it is. Like, I watch games and then I play the game, and Jude is exactly how he is on the pitch. I can't believe it. So that's one of the stuff that I basically look forward to, when playing the game. But as for Jude, man, like, this just goes to show, like, what he's about, especially when Mini was out, when the team was kind of calling off for someone to step up and, score the decisive goals, take the team forward. He did that. When he comes back, he drops deeper and, basically, blends both of what he did, the best of both sides of what he did while Vinny was absent into his game, and he's just exceptional, man. Like, you could see, he's just a class apart. There were so many great midfielders on the pitch, like what Jacob said, he was the best of them. There was De Jong, there was Pedri, but he just stood head and shoulders above at 19. The sky is the limit for this kid. The sky is just the absolute limit. Yeah, man. Jude aside, who else?
I think Jacob was pointing out Chouameni's good work in the group chat. So maybe Jacob, you could take up about Chouameni.
Yeah, go for it, Chouameni.
I got the same feeling with so something different that I noticed different from the Atletico game is that he was dropping into the box a lot more because obviously we were sitting back a bit more too. But even apart from that, he was really putting in that defensive shift in the box. He was winning all of the same balls, so that it was similar to Jude. Like, whatever challenge that he went into, he came out winning the ball and just helping the team transition into attack. So really happy with him. It's just that maybe one or two occasions, maybe he could have put his final ball in a bit better. But even the Vinicius penalty that he won, it was a Chouameni ball, right? That got us a penalty. So yeah,
the long ball, yeah.
Yeah, the long cross long ball. Yeah. Anyways, a really encouraging performance from Chouameni to take away from tonight.
The pivot is looking interesting, right? Like, I kind of, when Chouameni was away, I was a fan of the Fede Cruz pivot, right? But this kind of, refresh my memory, especially this particular performance of how good Chouameni and Cruz was, before he actually got injured. Mo, I would like to ask you, man, which duo do you prefer?
Between
Chouameni Cruz and Chouameni Fede.
Okay. I think that's definitely an interesting question, but before that, I'd like to divert your mind towards something else. I'm sorry. Ancelotti in the press conference just now said that today was a game for Lunin, capable return in the league. So
what the fuck?
I don't know
what the actual fuck. My God.
Carlo, man.
But
he actually said that.
Yeah. I'm just watching it. Like that's why I kind of asked you to repeat like which midfielders you were saying it. So it is kind of funny. I probably need to get a little bit more.
He's just goofing around. There's no fucking way he's serious.
That would be my hope. That's what I said. Ancelotti has been like
he's just playing games. Carlo. I'm gonna ask Francesco what the fuck is going on. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just listen to the PR stunts being pulled by Carlo, man. Come on, he needs to not give us heart attacks. But yeah, Mo, your preferred pivot. basically.
For me, I think it's not about just like playing two players or three. That's a good question actually about Cruz, Tchouaméni, Cruz, Valverde, but sorry, Tchouaméni, Valverde. But I think what we need to consider is the fact that all these players have their different roles. So right now, our midfielder has three players: Valverde, Tchouaméni, and Cruz, and everybody's doing their job. So for me, Cruz essentially for getting the ball out of the back. He is the guy who's essentially conducting the plays and everything. So Real Madrid plays to the tempo of what Toni Kroos wants Real Madrid to play. And Tchouaméni and Valverde are necessary, to protect Toni Kroos. You need somebody to cover the half spaces. Kroos doesn't really have the physicality to do that anymore. So, he didn't really have the physicality to do it in his prime either. But right now we have two players who can, cover up for him, and Real Madrid benefits from it. So I think all three of them should play. And the system that Ancelotti went with today is perfect. And like Farouk said, this is the closest we are going to get to seeing the best version of this team. This is the lineup that in the top games that we're going to see. Maybe except Mendy for Kamavinga or Kamavinga for Mendy, whatever that change may be. But overall, pretty happy with the lineup. So all three should play.
To add to that, Tchouaméni for a 9 more.
Tchouaméni, yeah, man, he was brilliant. Jacob summed it up perfectly for me. It was his ball in the second half, that I think could have netted us a fifth goal as well. So Tchouaméni, for me, I've always said that Tchouaméni is brilliant when he's being more proactive. But today he showed me that there's another aspect to his game, and ever since he started playing center back, I think he's learning a lot more of defensive awareness.
Yeah.
So happy for him.
I was having this conversation with my friend also, and I was like, basically telling her that, you basically changed my mind about how Kamavinga and Tchouaméni, if they switched places, it might, help the team a bit more. Ever since you said that, I have been, paying close attention to, how his defensive instincts are. And Tchouaméni didn't look great, but Kamavinga kind of made me a bit more assured about, that sitting role, basically, sitting six. But like you said, I guess he's improving. I guess his defensive IQ is definitely, gathering some steam as of late. But Farouk man, Tchouaméni, very, very inspiring performance.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, very, very inspiring and assuring performance. It's something that we've come to get used to the the whole Kroos and Fede double pivot or whatever you want to call it in the box midfield. It's been quite interesting to see that. And with today the return of Tchouaméni actually showed that the team can have another version of that. With, as you guys rightly mentioned, the calmness and authority that Tchouaméni also brings in the game. It's like he's like he never misses a tackle, or he knows what balls to challenge for and what balls to not challenge for, and something like that. And also being in the right place at the right time, especially today when we defended really, really deep as well. Soaking up the useless pressure that Barcelona was building or whatever it is. So yeah, that I think today was a really good one. I think today was a game where the team clicked. So you really can't point, because the point is I will sit down here shitting on Mendy, but I can't even remember what Mendy that was wrong. You understand? So that's been
his clearance I wasn't a fan of, but we were kind of pinned inside our own half, during that phase. The one that Lewandowski scored. Yeah.
For me, there was only just one thing that Mendy did. Was when one point he kind of lost the ball when he was doing his, surprise Mendy things, where he kind of does those stupid things and somehow kind of always keeps the ball.
I remember that.
So for me, that was the only one time for the clearance. I think you have a point, but for me, I wouldn't be too harsh on him on that.
Yeah.
But
Go on, Farouk.
Yeah. I mean, that's just all, man. I think Tchouaméni, today was also quite interesting. I wouldn't say it was exceptional, but he was he was good. He was quite balling as well on the night. And I feel again, as I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg for this team. Hopefully, we can continue to tread in this direction. I really do hope so. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, by the end of this week, by the end of next week, hopefully, I will not revert back to my old self. Let's fingers crossed on his side. I am not too confident.
We'll get to know a bit more in detail come Thursday. It's gonna be peak away at the Metropolitano. The derby is gonna be another test, big test. Not gonna lie. If we go out on that night, whatever good work was done today, it's finished, finito. So we should keep our
use that assertion. I don't really think that if we go out in the Super Cup against Atleti, it's of a deal, because for me personally, the two main trophies this season are
The trophies, yes, but going out to Atleti, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say put too much store, because of the fact that, first of all, we won the Copa last season, right? And although we might be in trouble, but I've seen that whenever we pay too much attention to Copa, Real Madrid always suffers in other competitions. So for me, the main trophies are La Liga and Champions League, and the Super Copa, especially ever since it's being held in Saudi in the winter, there's always been a barometer of how the team's forms are in the league. So the last two times we won the league, I think it was 2020 and 2022. We have won the Super Copa both times, and even Barcelona the league last year, they won the Super Copa. So I think this is a good competition. This competition is a good barometer. So for me, the impulses are good. The feelings are good. So whatever happens in the Copa del Rey, I don't really care as long as we win the league.
Mo has jinxed it, bro. Mo has jinxed it for sure.
I know, right? But for me, going on to Atleti is just unbearable. Probably because Mo doesn't know many Atleti fans. I have a very few close mates, especially from uni days.
Again,
they're not gonna.
This is the thing. This is the thing. So this team has been running to the ground. To Atleti, honestly, I don't think it's the end of the world, considering what our squad has gone through over the last couple of weeks, couple of days. The point is, honestly, I would have rather lost to Atleti, on Wednesday or whenever it was we played, and then knocked them out of the Copa, because I feel like the Copa is a more valuable, trophy than whatever the shenanigans that has been played in Saudi Arabia is. But that's just it. So I kind of, understand where Mo is coming from there, in that sense that, okay, yeah, there's a derby with Atletico, but, in the bigger picture, do you really want to, put all your chips down in Copa del Rey?
No, you don't. But when the Champions League is not a guarantee, I would like a double. I would take a double, the league and the Copa. Just that.
I think we also have to keep in mind that given the number of injuries we have, there's it isn't possible to maintain same intensity across three competitions, especially when you the fact that games are one after the other. How come they are towards the end of January? So for me, I'm not a big fan of that. So I would be okay with sacrificing the cup for the other competitions.
Right. Jabada was mentioning Hala Madrid. The boys absolutely bossed it tonight. Vamos. Ashik was mentioning this podcast is way more champagne podcast than Real Madrid's performance. Big up Ashik, man. Ashik was mentioning at Farouk, we have sat back under Zizou and Carlo, but we also had aging players against Barcelona's midfield. We are physically more imposing and younger, and we also have better players.
But I don't think that's the argument, though. I think the argument of aging players is different. The argument is that, right now, our midfield with Fede Valverde, Jude, is not a midfield that is more possession-oriented. I don't think that's their strengths. I think the point is Jude, Fede, Camavinga, these are players that are more oriented to moving box-to-box operations, you understand? But then when you go with Pedri, Ilkay, and Frankie de Jong, these are players that they're going to keep rotating the ball around in cycles till the end of time. This is what they do at best. So you're not going to, I don't know, it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight or the vice versa. That's just the thing,
Yeah, I think our midfield is more reactive rather than proactive.
Exactly. So that's the thing. I just feel like trying to go toe-to-toe with them by, holding the ball and pinking it around. I did not see that was, at least for this game, I didn't feel like that's it. Not even for this game, for our team as a whole, I just feel like that will be counterproductive. It's square pegs in round holes, honestly.
Rajat was mentioning, we're not sure we have someone as good as De Jong. I don't get it. De Jong is phenomenal, but
he means in the sense
less of that.
I think he means the sense of how good he is, in controlling the tempo and
in possession and whatnot.
Yeah,
Cruz is up there, man.
Cruz, bro. Come.
Let me complete it, man. Let me complete the whole thing. I'm saying. I think we had this thing yesterday as well. Where I pointed out that although we have Cruz for the job, I think given the fact that Frankie de Jong is young, there's always that aspect of his game, especially defensively, that he overshadows Cruz.
Mobility.
And I think another important point, important thing to keep in mind is the fact that when people are making statements Frankie de Jong is we don't really have a profile like that. I think in their mind people are already excluding Cruz and Modric, because Cruz and Modric are not in the same generation, right? When we're talking about we don't really have a player like that, it's more about the fact that the upcoming generation of midfielders that we have, Camavinga, Chouameni, Bellingham. So this comparison for me is always to them, not to the likes of Cruz and Modric.
You don't
Well, can
think
I ask you guys
Ceballos
something though?
is
Do you guys
up for
feel
it?
like, you know,
You know what happened? I'll tell you the true story. Ceballos got left in Argentina, and we got Caballos back. So right now we have.
Who was saying Caballos? Who the fuck was saying Ceballos is Caballos? Someone was mentioning.
It was in the super in the cup. I remember, or maybe I don't know.
Was it Farouk? It was Farouk, right? It was Farouk. It was Farouk calling Ceballos as Caballos, no? Or who was it? I remember someone doing it on this very pod. I don't remember who the fuck it was, but
Yeah, I heard you were gonna ask me something.
yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, like, do you guys feel like, you know, this era of like, you know, having midfielders who set tempo, like, you know, people like the Frankie De Jongs, do you feel like it's coming to an end? Because right now, like, you see, like, you know, the midfielders that are in vogue, you kind of feel like these are like, I don't know, the Camavingas, the Chouamenis, you know, the I don't know, the Fede Valverdes, and even to some extent, you know, even you look at in the English Premier League as well, you know, you feel like the young and upcoming midfielders, the likes of, you know, the Declan Rices, the Moses Caicedos, the Enzo Fernandez, like, these are not necessarily, you know, the tempo setters like you have in Toni Kroos, like, I don't know. Do you guys feel like this is something that's going to come into extinct and will be like, oh, once upon a time we used to have, you know, certain people who used to do certain jobs?
the pace of the game is gone, right? Like it's different. It's absolutely neck break pace. Go on, Mo.
Farooq, I'm going to say something. You know, although I'm not the biggest Arsenal fan, I don't really like you putting Declan Rice in the same category as the likes of Moses Caicedo. But
I mean, what Caicedo showed before he moved to Chelsea.
but yeah, honestly, for me personally, I think that's a pretty valid question. But the thing is, like, you know, as you know, probably, you know, the thing is, like, football always goes in cycles, and football is going to adapt to the kind of players who are like the talent of the time. So I think before it was time for Cruises and Shabis, you know, controlling the tempo, controlling the possession. Or maybe players aren't coming. Maybe players aren't coming to our notice who are as good at doing the same things. But you know, football goes into cycles. Managers adapt to the players that they have, and football evolves.
That's very true.
It's definitely a conversation that you know we would be having. You know, especially if Kroos and Modric, like if they leave at the end of the season, we should be having conversations about who is gonna be basically someone who's gonna switch up tempo in a game that we are getting overrun. Right? Like, how are we gonna?
The point I'm making is the fact that even if we don't get a player like that, the managers will have to adapt and, you know, go to a different kind of football. So that's the one truth about football, you know, about everything in life, you know, dropping philosophy. But change is inevitable. So, you know, things are gonna happen. We're gonna adapt. We're gonna change our play style. Something's gonna happen.
Adaptation.
The only thing that's gonna be constant is winning titles. So.
What was Farouk saying? Carlo Ancelotti and adaptation? What are you mocking him?
Yeah, Carlo and adaptation. I would say name two things that are more familiar, bro. There is nothing more familiar than Carlo. And
how did he adapt without a striker and meant to a diamond, top the league?
I mean,
top
I
the group stage.
Farouk is kind of adapt. Like, he's not mocking Ancelotti.
Of course,
he's big enough.
This is what he does. Like, adaptation is what he does.
Okay, fair. He'll do it.
I think he's the best coach that uses I mean, when it comes to like utilizing what he has, the resources you throw to him, I think he is the best coach. Like, that's the thing. Like, you cannot argue against that.
You know, Sunil could not believe himself hearing.
Yeah, I couldn't fucking, you know. Yeah, like Farouk has flipped the switch, but this is just in isolation. You know, this is like a contaminated version of Farouk, right? This isn't him. You know, like this isn't him. This is one of those. I forgot what the fucking B movie was with aliens.
The version of Farouk that is pretty happy about going home, so the weight of the shoulders has been lifted.
Oh yeah, true. Going back home to that jollof of rice, yeah, Farouk. Send us some parcels, man. Honestly, you know, I know it might get, you know, there's a risk of getting spoiled.
You live in Canada. That's basically the third Nigeria that exists. You know, after the UK, Canada is this third Nigeria. We have Nigeria, we have England, and then we have Canada, bro. Like, jollof rice is basically your food, man.
I know. But I would like to try some from your household, bro. Like some, you know, secret recipes and shit.
You like the fact that you cook, you know? You have to cook.
What the fuck? Anyway. Boys, who do we cover next? Carvajal had a really good performance. Fede Valverde was exceptional. Toni Kroos was good.
I want to cover Mendy, man. Like, I feel like he really took a step up this game. He let nothing pass through. was pretty decent.
Doesn't
Like,
surprise me.
nothing really surprising, but he really shut down that left flank. He was even there, even when those crosses came in, he was the one clearing them all out.
Mendy, like I know, there's a reason why, I'm so keen on backing him. Even if Alphonso Davis, joins eventually in the summer, I would keep Mendy. Like I wouldn't give a fuck about if he's not flashy, if he doesn't sell shirts, or he is someone indispensable in my opinion. So many people would disagree with it, but this is yet another game that whatever he does, it doesn't surprise me. He just is solid. Um, but yeah, who else? Mo, pick a player, and we can basically run through some
The
of
best
the.
in the world, man, Rudiger. Didn't have too much to do, but whatever he had to do, he did it well. There was one time when Joao Felix managed to turn around him, and he showed Joao Felix what the end of the world is.
Life flashed before his eyes. I saw that.
Yeah, so I think that speaks to intelligence in the game. When you're losing the battle, you know when to make a tackle and maybe take the yellow card, but just go on with it. So for me, Rudiger yesterday, like Hafid could not like believe himself that when we called Rudiger the best centre back in the world, but then today he showed their levels to this game. On one hand you had Araujo kicking out Vinicius getting red cards, and on the other you had Rudiger completely bossing the back line, winning headers, winning area balls, complementing Lunin in crosses, helping him out. So I think Rudiger completely showed why we consider him to be the best centre back in the world today.
100%. Especially, what I like about him is his similarities in the game with Ramos. Right. One thing that I loved about Ramos's game is how basically he just fucks up the team's shape. He's like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna win this ball. I'm gonna step into midfield. Boom. He has so much self-belief that he does it, and it works 99% of the time. And I saw that on so many occasions where Barcelona were trying to break, and then there's one guy basically saying, nah, not now, my friend. Rudiger was exceptional, man. Like I said, it doesn't phase me anymore. I was surprised the first couple of months, but yeah, not
And I
anymore.
think the important point is the fact that his mere presence, especially after what has happened over the past like a month or so, his mere presence in the box or corners, he's showing that gravity that goal scoring defenders have. Players are like gravitating towards him. That's opening opportunities for other players. I think today there was an opportunity for many others to get a goal. It didn't work out, but it is important that he continues to drive players apart so that there are opportunities for other players.
That's the notion I had as well. When I used to scream out for people to score from set pieces, this is basically it. The more we score from set pieces, the more guys like Rudiger step up. People are going to eventually, get a bit more afraid of the threat they possess, and basically give opportunities for others to get free headers, man. But yeah, go ahead, Farouk. Pick some of the the co-stars for tonight. And yeah,
Who's left that we haven't talked about?
Carvajal, Fede.
I think we talked about them.
Nacho is the only one.
I think
No.
Yeah, Nacho is the only one left. I think Nacho is Nacho.
Did we talk about Carvajal? I don't think so, but yeah, go for it.
We devoted time to Carvalho and Fede. We just barely, I think Sunet just
Glossed over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, go for it, Farouk. Up to you.
Yeah, man. I think I'd want to just shout out to Brahim Diaz once again, man. He came on, not too much time to make an impact, but still, he
Still made an impact.
Exactly. Still found a way, to put himself in the thick of things. Should have, I don't know, squared the ball back or whatever you want to say. But anyways, like this is what players and confidence doing, like the audacity to just keep going. Literally he was just like hot knife through cheese. Like it was just straight into the 18, and he just felt like why not, like he could have, I think, squared the ball back to Rodrygo, but he felt like he fancied his chances. And again, honestly, like Brahim, every day, every time, the more I watch him, the more I am convinced. I don't think there is any team to convince more, but if they always find convince me, like, yeah, he's the guy, and he's gonna be someone who's gonna be really, really, an X factor for us when we, when the chips are down, when we're deep into the the knockout stages of the Champions League as well.
I love every word that you just said, Farouk. I really see that happening. I'm going to have this dream sometime in the near future, because that I'm going to manifest this, because somewhere down in the Champions League there'll come a point where we'll be a goal down, with the clock ticking, a minute to go for full time, Brahim is gonna turn up, turn the screw and basically bail us out. I just see that happening because this man, if he starts, no matter if he starts, if he's off the bench, he just is the X factor this season. Not gonna lie, is the absolute definition of an X factor. Jacob, man, the floor is all yours for the next one.
I think before we go on to the next one, I'd just like to say one small thing. Sorry, Jacob. I think before the start of the season, we had this conversation about Brahim where we said that he's gonna essentially be taking on the Vinicius role Asensio role when he gets a chance. But I think we weren't really particularly for me, I wasn't really sure if he's going to be able to manage to replicate Asensio's goals. And the thing is, because we always saw that Asensio had that ability to score a long range screamer or something like that to get us into help us out in those teams against who sat back and who kind of wanted the game to remain 1-0-0, but Asensio would somehow pull a screamer and make it 1-0. But I think Brahim has come on and shown us what we saw with Asensio was decently good, but he can do better. The thing is, this guy is not just relying upon the ability to score long range screamers that might or might not go. This guy is showing that he has the wizardry, the trickery to open up spaces, to combine with others, and to show a level of active play that that we didn't really see from Asensio, especially after his injury. When Asensio burst on the scene, we always had this dream of Asensio being that player that would unlock defenses and everything. He had a brilliant left foot, but we expected so much more for him. But Brahim is showing to us, there's a side to his game that Asensio was lacking, and he's really combining well with the rest of the team. And he's been brilliant. And I think towards the start of the season, I was thinking if Real Madrid is down 1-0, the obvious replacement is going to be Joselu. But right now, it's not so obvious. We can easily bring on Brahim and get a different kind of play and to open up defenses. So for me, Brahim's evolution this season and the way he has opened my eyes to the way he can play, I think it's been pretty brilliant.
That's a person, man.
Yeah, Asensio clearly was a bit one-dimensional, and Brahim just goes to show that there's levels to this game. Absolutely true, Mo. I can just see the defense is really paying a lot of attention to Brahim. If Brahim basically was the version of Brahim that the version of Brahim that basically was the player before he left for Milan, the defenses and the players wouldn't pay much respect to him. But now this version, I think he strikes fear. Pure fear when he comes on. That's a great asset to have. Not gonna lie, 2-footed, like you said, super willing to take a seat back and let the game decide where he would like to pop up. His combination play, brilliant. Brahim has definitely carved out a role for himself, in this Madrid side. But Jacob, man, go for it.
Yeah, man. I thought I'm actually done with the players, man. We had some substitutes late in the game, but they couldn't really make an impact because the game was basically dead at that point. But yeah,
Arda Güler, I would have loved to see him come on and do something. Even if it was for 5 minutes.
Yeah, would have been nice. But Arda Güler's first Clasico.
Yeah. It would have been a nice. The score was 4-1. The game was dead and done.
I think Arda Güler is being signed for 10 years, 10 to 15 years. This is a guy that Real Madrid are going to depend on the future. So if he doesn't play one game, I'm okay. He's definitely going to play a Clasico. He's going to decide Clásicos in the future.
No, I didn't think about his first Clasico and all that shit. I was just give him a runabout. The game is done.
I think the thing is I think what Ancelotti wants him to do is first of all he wants to ease him back. He's had a long run of injuries, so you are definitely not going to be in the best of shape. So probably slowly build up his match fitness by playing him in games with lesser magnitude. But although this Barcelona is not the strongest Barcelona, but it's still a Clásico. It's still a game of a certain level, certain intensity. So I think, and towards the end, you saw how Barcelona players were they completely lost their marbles. They were kicking out at anybody they could find. Even Fermin Lopez had a pretty bad tackle on Camavinga. So I think in that situation, it wasn't entirely necessary to bring on Arda Güler because, like I said, Arda Güler is a player we have signed for 10-15 years. This guy is going to be deciding Clásicos that we're in that situation. Just give run out to players like Ceballos, give them some game time, and just be done with it.
Yeah, Ashik was mentioning Brahim brings in more than what Asensio bought in. Asensio was a one-trick pony. Brahim is multi-dimensional. Brahim can kill you with both left and right and can dribble and get out of jam. I was also mentioning Brahim is also tenacious and works to win the ball. Unlike Asensio, his work rate is just damn good, man. Brahim off the ball is a menace. Jacob, yeah. So no one else, yeah. We basically I would like to pick up Carvel again.
The biggest question I have.
Yeah, Carvajal and Fede, man. Fede, I think the way he plays, we kind of tend to overlook him, but his deep runs, his runs from the deep, his ability to bring the ball across the lines, it's understated, and him helping out in defense. When we were talking about Hafi, he was talking about how Barcelona are going to cut balls back, play cutbacks and exploit the half spaces. And I said that, Fede Valverde and Tchouaméni are going to cover the spaces for us. And today, Fede Valverde had one incredible tackle in that half space that essentially prevented, Barcelona from exploiting that space. So I think Fede Valverde did his job pretty well. He's been doing his job pretty well, and he's undroppable for Ancelotti. And I think that's the biggest, that is the biggest latitude that anybody can give him.
I would also like to point out I think the third goal the fourth goal. Was it the fourth goal? It was the fourth goal that Rodrygo scored. Was basically the culmination of a brilliant combination between Carvajal and Fede on the right. Where basically Fede is put me in a running race with Christensen. He's not gonna do shit. Right, basically, he just leaves him for dust, puts in a brilliant cross pass to Vinny, and then the rest, Rodrygo, basically.
I think you made a brilliant point. We can, you pointed out somebody that we can actually talk about Christensen, because we had this debate yesterday about Christensen being better than Rudiger over the past 1.5 months. Although I'll be fully open to admitting that Christensen had a good first season compared to Rudiger, because Rudiger lacked chances. But then the thing is, you also have to keep into mind that Rudiger walked into a team that had a settled defense, whereas Christensen was coming into a team that was...
Rudiger had to contend with the Champions League winning duo. At centre back.
After this game, I don't think anybody can doubt that Rudiger has totally shown his class. After this game, especially because he had a tough first season, but towards the end, his game against Manchester City and what he has done this season, for me, I think nobody had a doubt in their mind when the transfer happened that who you should go for. If you were going to ask somebody back when these transfers happened, who would you sign as a free agent, Rudiger or Christensen? You would always said Rudiger. And right now, it just shows us the value of bringing Rudiger in. 2 injuries, nothing phases him. He's played with
Christensen is what is everything wrong with the new generation of centre backs. Timid, tame,
a good player.
Soft on the tackle. I don't like it, man, honestly. But yeah.
I don't really want to be too harsh on him. I'm sure Farouk has his own opinions about Christensen, but the thing is, he's a good player. But between Christensen and Rudiger, I'm always taking Rudiger.
2 different styles.
2 different styles.
He's really good on the ball. Christensen's ball playing is absolutely superb. I really like that aspect of him.
I think you can't, sell short like that. Christensen is also a very good defender, because let's not forget, Christensen was also starting for Conte as well when they won the league. Christensen was a really good, and was and still is a really good defender. But obviously, the levels that Rudiger, it's just about the issue of this level that he can reach. Rudiger can reach to a certain level that Christensen cannot reach. Obviously, that's just the thing, and I feel like it's really, really unfair to Tony Rudiger, at least what he has done over the past 4 or 5 months, to compare him and Christensen, because that season, Christensen, they had a very good season, you understand. But what they've showed us this year is that last year was a fluke, because people talk about the departure of Sergio B, but I feel like Sergio B was already an old man with a walking stick. He was just playing with a bike 5 and what is and what's not. I don't feel like that's the reason why they are where they are right now, especially defensively. I think last season the commentators were calling the game, saying that they considered 20 goals the whole of last season. It's 18 games now, they already have 22 goals. They consider already 22 goals in the league. So it's just not the last season was definitely a fluke. That's just the thing, But obviously Christensen is he's a good baller, but I don't think he's anywhere close to the level of Tony Rudiger, honestly. And I think the only defender there is Araujo, man. That's the only person you can actually. Koundé was good, but I don't think Koundé has been good since he moved to Barcelona. I don't think there is any Barca fan who would tell me that Koundé has.
We had one yesterday.
I told Hafid, Koundé is really good. He has his, good traits.
Was really good. Not was. Since he moved from Seville to Barcelona, let them show me 3-4 matches on the spin where Kunde was actually world-class CB.
Last season, I guess he had a few
Bro,
lot of
last
good
season
games.
he was playing as a left back or right back or what is it? They were playing 3 at the back as well, bro.
Yeah. You have a point. But yeah, like I did mention on the preview yesterday as well, if you did hear me, that centrally defensively, Kunde is just absolutely shambolic. Like he doesn't know where his bearings are at. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna shit too much on Barcelona yet because we have another Clasico coming up, and there's gonna be plenty
Bro,
of opportunity.
Barca are horseshit, man. It doesn't really matter. That's one thing I've come to learn and accept is that no matter how bad or how good Barcelona is, like a Clasico, like Barcelona just goes into the game with more confidence than we do. Even if they're like in the Segunda B and we're going, at least since I started watching Real Madrid, that's the thing. It doesn't really matter. Like even if we won the treble or whatever the shit is, and Barcelona is in the 4th division, like we will go into that game and we will find a way to shit the bed. That's just it doesn't change the reality that like we're still the better team than Barcelona. That's just the truth. There is nothing there.
Right.
Wanted to ask
I guess more will have something
Vinicius,
to.
right? So what changed from
Go for it.
the La Liga game? We were really outplayed, right? By the same Barca, almost the same team. We couldn't find any answers in attack. We suffered hugely in defense. Like what changed in this match?
Carlo finally did his homework, bro.
Gavi.
Carlo finally did his homework.
Yeah, Gavi is a big miss.
Yeah, it's a big.
Gavi is a big miss, 100%.
I think last season last Super Cup final, last year. That was the first time I actually kind of understood why Gavi is so important to Barcelona. Because that was the first game I actually appreciated him. This guy has although I hate him, I find him too reckless and violent. But the thing is, like, this guy has.
He is their Fede, basically. Yeah.
I mean, it's not about being Fede, but this guy has a tenacity. He has understanding. He just knows, like, when to step up in intensity, when to press, when to haggle the opponent. So for me personally, I think that is a big miss for this Barcelona team. If today, instead of Sergio Roberto, they had Gavi, I think the game would have been a lot different.
I think it also has to do with shape. I think Barcelona played an entirely different shape. Did they play 4-2-3-1?
The thing is, like, the shape. Okay. The thing about shape for Barcelona is the fact that Barcelona, Xavi always plays with like a 3-5-2. All right. No matter how they line up, they always have 3-5-2. Even today, if you saw, like yesterday when I was talking to Javi, I think they was like he didn't really understand what I was trying to say. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. But the thing is, like, Barcelona, Xavi, the wingers are incredibly important. So on one end, I said Balde is going to be the one who's going to be pushing up, and the other end was Ferran Torres. They were the guy they were providing width. The thing is, like, when I expected at least Pedri to be playing much more forward than he did. Pedri, I don't know for what reason he kind of like stuck with Frenkie de Jong and Gundogan and Pedri.
He got lost in midfield.
Yeah, they were playing in the midfield. For me, I expected Pedri to be much more forward. Whenever Pedri went forward, we had trouble dealing with him because his ability to weave his way through around in the half space, enter the box, and create havoc. I think Pedri did that whenever he did. Maybe it was fitness. But if they had Gavi, Pedri would have a lot more freedom. He wouldn't be stuck behind. I expected more from Sergio Roberto because in the previous Clásicos, he's always shown that ability to somehow raise his game and score a goal or something against us. But today it didn't work out for Xavi.
Well, there you go. I guess we pretty much covered it all, people. If you guys want to add anything to it, any final thoughts? Mo, Jacob, Farouk, I'll come to you. Farouk first, man.
Nah, man, I just feel like we just said it all true, and honestly, it's a really, really, it was a really interesting game to watch for me. I really do just hope that we can build on this, and this is not just a false dawn. Hopefully, like they can review the match and look at what went right and what went wrong, and hopefully, the synergy between the front three or the front 2.5 eventually, continues to build, and hopefully that's just the way forward, man. Hopefully, we can continue to see more of this kind of combinations and more of this kind of game.
Jacob.
Yeah, man. I took away two things from this whole tournament. Like, first, we have most of our important players back, at least the ones who are missing the whole season. So yeah, it was a good round of game, a couple of games for them to get back into fitness, get back into match rhythm. So really important for that. I feel like apart from that, we didn't really have much to take away from this. Of course, the Atletico game was a real confidence booster. We know we can actually face off against them again in the Copa del Rey. But for Barcelona, man, I think Barcelona are gonna take away, like, they're gonna lose all sorts of confidence, and I wouldn't be too surprised if they have like troubles again in the Copa del Rey against the fourth division opposition.
Again, Unistar or somebody, right? Like they bet Villarreal in the last one.
Villarreal are horseshit too, man. Fuck, they're so bad this season.
Yeah, they're very bad, very very bad. Go on, Mo.
Yeah, I think Villarreal and Sevilla have been pretty bad this season for some reason. But yeah, I think coming to your question, that is more pertinent. What do we take away? For me, the thing is like we have to take away the combination of Rodrygo, Bellingham, and Vinicius. Like just like Farouk said, I think that's the important thing to take away. We also took away the fact that how Brahim can come on as a substitute and create something, create some danger. So I think that is a plus point for us. Overall, for me, the more important thing is like we get the confidence of beating two of our closest, like two for more important rivals, Girona notwithstanding, in Atleti and Barcelona, beating them, we get the confidence boost, and now we go on and compete for the real trophies that are on the line, the Champions League, La Liga, and if you want, the Copa del Rey.
100%. I guess the boys basically, summed it up well. Again, I just hope, like I mentioned at the very beginning, this sets the tone. I'm like, I use this word so much: momentum, tone, tempo. It's super important for us to get into rhythm and see big tests out with a plump, because the moment that we falter, like if we have a bad game against someone like, let's say, Mallorca, right, or someone like Getafe, like I would take it and move on. But having a bad day against very good opposition would really hit the team where it hurts, especially mentally. So I don't want that, and I hope this basically gives us an added, like what Mo said, added boost, added confidence, and assurance about ourselves. And I'm pretty sure, Carlo, Francesco, Davide, all the coaching staff, they would be feeling the same, that they would have the same feeling that, they can go on to do some great things. And they will have seen throughout these two games in Saudi Arabia that the boys are up for it. That's the only thing that we were doubting. Remember, boys, sometime in August, like we didn't really know if the squad really had the character in them to go and do great things. But right now, I just have this sensation that tells me that these guys are up for the challenge. Pick up every single one of you in the chat again, man.
Just one thing before, the thing is like one thing I want to add to the point that you made. Given the amount of injuries, like this is something that we repeat every time, but I think it cannot be repeated enough. Given the number of injuries, given the amount of players missing, given the amount of players who left in transfer, the way Ancelotti has managed, the way Ancelotti has us playing, and the thing is like, till we are now in January, half of January has passed and we have only lost one game. I mean, nobody could have expected that, and I think Ancelotti deserves immense credit for that. He has got the renewal off of that, and I think he's completely deserved it. And for me, the moment where I realized that it's not just us, but other players, other people are also like looking at it and admitting, is the fact that I actually saw a Celta account, that is a Celta Vigo account, that never praises Real Madrid, that always hates on our club. Even they had to stand up and say the work that Ancelotti is doing is incredible. So for me, Ancelotti has truly proven himself. If anybody had any doubts, I know that none of us had doubts about his credentials, but if anybody at all had a doubt about how good of a manager he is, I think this season has been the perfect response to them.
Farouk in the mud. Okay, so back to more important things. Okay. What? I didn't say Farouk in the mud. I was just coughing, bro.
Come on, I'm a stupid person.
I don't get it.
I'm not that stupid, man.
You think so lowly of yourself, bro. Like
I wouldn't stoop to the level of this regarding the credentials and the experience. Definitely not. But I just feel like he lives in the past. That's the thing. Like for the team I want to watch, he doesn't offer what I want. That's but it doesn't mean that he's not good. Definitely not. Definitely not. I will never say that, and I never said that as well.
Okay, Farouk out of the mud. Okay. Good stuff. Big up every single one of you in the chat, man. Ashik, Ricardo.
You guys, put money on us finding a new coach before the end of 2024. If you're a betting guy,
Hey, Farouk, did you know Thomas Tuchel signed Eric Dyer?
We had this conversation yesterday. on the preview.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. We're not going to ask your thoughts about it. I reckon you rate Dyer pretty highly. So we'll leave it at that. But Ashik was.
No, man, he rates Tuchel highly. He doesn't rate Dyer, but he's gonna say that if Tuchel has signed him, there has to.
No, that's what I was insinuating, that since Thomas signed him, Tommy Tuchel signed him, he would change his opinion on Dyer. But Ashik was mentioning, Farooq, would you hire Ancelotti for Nigeria? Nigeria doesn't do well at the AFCON.
Definitely, bro. Carlo with the Nigerian national team for sure. Definitely.
It's gonna cook, yeah.
No, it takes him away from Real Madrid, bro. Nigeria. Right? How many times I was Nigeria?
Imagine Carlo and his coaching staff all with the dreads from week 2, at the Nigerian training camp. But that'll be a sight to behold.
I think something that's going to make Farooq happy is the fact that I think today or yesterday, when Xabi Alonso was asked, are you some in Germany asked him, are you coming back to Real Madrid? And he said, right now on an Erasmus program. For those who don't know, Erasmus is student exchange. So he said, I'm definitely coming back home. So we'll see.
In 3 years, in 3 years, after we win 2 more Champions Leagues, it'll be all good.
My favorite, the whole Alonso thing is that I just kind of feel like Thomas Tuchel is a coach who is a bomb waiting to explode, and Bayern Munich will definitely, become Hollywood FC. And once they fire Tuchel, I feel like Alonso is just the guy.
I think they already have Alonso in their minds for next season.
Exactly, that's what I feel like, honestly, because I just feel like because the thing about Thomas Tuchel is like he's a good coach.
Alonso won't stay at Bayern forever.
No, there's no question. The thing is, like, Xabi Alonso is definitely going to coach Real Madrid. It's not a question of if; it's a question of when. It's going to happen.
So let Carlo, rock and roll for 3-4 years, and then Xabi can come in. It's not a big deal. The football will be a bit hard to watch, Farooq, but the Champions Leagues is going to compensate. I'm telling you, Champions Leagues, it's going to compensate, inshallah. But
I hope so, man. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne is returning. The man is coming back like he never left, bro.
Oh, but they
was what the fuck?
Yeah, I saw the highlights. Well, all the hype is good, but I hope he's ready for our diamond setup, to
diamonds are forever. So.
If Farooq really doesn't see us standing a chance, but it's a different conversation. Not for today. Big up every single one of you in the chat, man. Again, big up our listeners on audio as well. Again, what makes this podcast what it is because this is a two-way street. Even like I see so many people sending in not just feedback but their thoughts on how we broke down. So many people really think badly of Farooq, and I reassure them that it's all coming from a place of love. It isn't exactly hatred. It isn't exactly throwing shade.
I'm pretty sure you're lying. Nobody can think badly of Farooq, man. Come on now.
But yeah, some of his viewpoints, it's not just Farooq as a person, but how can someone?
I'm telling you, Farooq, his viewpoints I totally understand. They might not be to what you and I might think, but Farooq, they're well founded.
Yeah, people question, has he been really watching us, this last 6 months and stuff like that. I'll tell them, it's his personal viewpoint. There's nothing to be like, he is a fan just like us. He just wants the best for us. It's just different perspectives. Simple as. But yeah, man, big up every single one of you, bro. Like bros, girls, like we have a significant female listener base as well. I'm not gonna
thanks to Jacob.
Jacob is basically I'm not gonna say the word but big up every single one of you, man. Big up our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Committee. They run a brilliant fan page. Go check them out. Big up our team in Madrid as well. Like I have mentioned before, we are going to be back in action from Almeria on Saturday. From Thursday for the Copa. For the Copa, we'll be away live at the Metropolitano. We have tickets to the game as well, so it's going to be pretty fascinating if we manage to go through as well. So watch out for it on our socials, boys. If you like the content, don't forget to smash the like. It really, really helps drive the algorithm forward, people. And the drill. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're on the road to 2K. Inshallah, hopefully before the end of this year we hit 3K or 4K. Up to you guys. And yeah, a good win tonight. First trophy of the season. On to many more. Until next time, people. Ala Madrid.
Hello,
Real Madrid.
Hala Madrid.